Salam and welcome to Reclamation and Reciprocity, Harvesting Just and Liberated Futures for Girls, Femmes, and Gender-Expansive Youth of Color. My name is Maheen Kaleem, and I am the Vice President of Grantmakers for Girls of Color, and so excited that you are all with us today. I wanted to kick us off by grounding us in a few logistical things so that we can make the best of our time together. First of all, the app, SwapCard. If you're watching this, you made it into SwapCard. If you have friends that are trying to watch this, show them how to register and they'll be able to log into the app. This app is designed for you to have all the information you need. You can learn about what speakers and what sessions are coming up, add events to your own schedule, export that schedule to your iCalendar, your Google Calendar, and connect with other attendees. Plenary sessions will all happen here in the SwapCard app. Workshops, key sessions, and office hours will happen in Zoom, but all you need to do is scroll down to that event in the app and click on the Zoom link. And as always, if you have questions, you can reach out to any of our G4GC staff or registration at girlfridayevents.com. Now, how we're structured. Our 3 days together are going to include some plenaries, some amazing performances and DJ sets. And then in the afternoon, after our plenaries are finished, folks will have an opportunity to attend workshops, key sessions, and office hours. Workshops are facilitated and structured interactive conversations and activities focused on specific topics. Key sessions come from a term that is elevated from Black LGBTQ social culture, really to refer to a gathering of friends for chit chat, joy, gossip, and safe and trusted space. These are opportunities for informal and lightly facilitated gathering for specific groups of people. And office hours. Office hours hosted by Kajal Shah and Haley Smith will allow for our grantee partners and organizations focused on girls, femmes, and youth, gender-expansive youth of color to be able to get real-time answers to questions that you're holding about your organization. While they may not have all the answers, they'll definitely be able to follow up with additional resources later on. Just a note about the workshops. When you show up, the moderator facilitator will share who the attended audience is. Some workshops are for young people, some workshops are for funders, some workshops are for anybody, but we encourage you to be in the places that are meant for you. The moderator may ask for consent to record, and don't worry, Zoom will ask you to give your consent before recording. And now for our community agreements. You, our community at G4GC, are everything to us. You are co-investors in girls, femmes, and gender-expansive youth of color. This is a community rooted in love and reciprocity. And we know that you will move through the next 3 days with each other, embodying our values of inclusivity, authenticity, accountability, transformation, freedom, creativity, and love. We encourage you to recognize the inherent worth of every person, acknowledge power imbalances and historical oppressions that might impact the way you show up and others show up, and really root your practices with each other in mutual accountability. Most importantly, our young people are the most important part of our community. Center and respect their voices and their wisdom. These are intergenerational spaces, and we know that when we bring them into space with other folks who don't identify as young, that it's important that they know that this is a place where they are respected and trusted. And finally, we encourage you to use gender expansive or gender neutral language and avoid making assumptions about people as identities, but instead ask questions and be open. We know and trust that you will treat each other with the grace and love that we know is so organic to our community. It is now my incredible honor to introduce Melody Capote, the Executive Director of the Caribbean Cultural African Diaspora Institute, one of our newest and incredible Grantmakers for Girls of Color grantees. Melody is a bold voice in advocating for cultural equity, racial and social justice for African descendant communities. In addition to her many accolades and her extraordinary history, lending her creativity and leadership talents to a quest for liberation, Melody, her colleague Sabine, and the team at CCCADI have been actively supporting folks across the Caribbean and diaspora impacted by climate change and many other impacts of historical oppression. Because it is our way, it's important for me to share that we learned of Melody's amazing work, or at least I did, through a relationship that her daughter had with one of our staff members, which shows you that we really do mean that our young people lead the way. Today, we are so honored that Melody is joining us in her role as priestess in the African-based Orisha Lukumi tradition to offer libation and blessings for our time together this week. And with that, I will turn it over to Melody.
Thank you, Maheen. Thank you, Cedra. And thank you to my daughter, Kailani. Before we begin, I want to welcome everyone. Alafia, welcome, bienvenidos. And I also want to apologize for the nasalness in my voice. I am sick with bronchitis, but I had to be here today. And it's important. It's important that when one is invited, when one makes a pact, when one uses your word, that you show up. I am a priestess of the Orisha tradition of the Yoruba people who traveled from West Africa to the Americas and the Caribbean in what is known as the diaspora. As Maheen had suggested in my introduction, I am the director of the Caribbean Cultural Center, African Diaspora Institute. When we speak about the word diaspora, we talk about the dispersal of enslaved Africans who were brought throughout the world. And in that dispersal, we brought culture, we brought art, we brought language, we brought food, we brought spirituality, we brought sacred traditions that were taken from us. But in that, we as a people have been resilient and have remained committed in wanting to save these traditions, practice these traditions, and pass them on to generation after generation. When we speak about the Orisha tradition, we're talking about the elements and the forces of nature. In this practice, what is important is that the respect for nature, for the earth, for the sky, for the air, for the rivers, for the oceans. What we know is that these are things that we as humans cannot stop. We can't stop the rain. We can't stop the current of the ocean. We can't stop the waves of, the currents of the ocean. We can't stop the streams of the river. And what we need to keep in mind always is the respect we have to have for those things that have given us life and have given us power and have given us the energy we are as human beings today. I am initiated as the daughter of Oshun. Oshun is the goddess of fertility, of love, of family. She's represented by sweet waters like the lakes and the rivers. And she's also represented by the power of the vulture. It's like everything in life, we have the yin and the yang, right? The balances of life. When we pray, we're supposed to pray all the time. Not only when we want something, not only when we need something, but all of the time. And I'm hoping that in this prayer and in this blessing and this libation today, you'll take away just a little bit of what it means to pray. But before we begin, I want to speak about the power of the word and the power of your breath, your words, your breath, and most importantly, your sacredness. I'm hoping you hear that. We are all sacred. You don't need to be in a place, in a church, in a temple, before a priest, but we are all sacred. And once we understand that, that walks with you all the time. Your words are powerful. Your breath is sacred. You are sacred. And so when we speak about prayer, I want you to remember that. It's what your words are. We can all learn to recite a prayer from a book, but it's your words and your communication with the Creator, whoever that power is. It's your words and your communication that are prayer. And for me, and if you walk away with nothing else today, for me, the two most powerful words to say each morning and every night is the prayer of saying thank you. Thank you for the sacred breath of life. Thank you for a brand new day. And at the end of the day, thank you for helping me get through it. And so if you take that with you, if you take nothing else, that for me is the most sincere prayer that you can say. Thank you. So as we get ready for the libation, and libation is a way of opening the roads, it's a way of acknowledging ancestor, I want to remind you that the most important part of this process, of this journey that we call life, is a concept that in Africa is known as Sankofa, that the only way that any of us can move forward is by taking the moment to look back. You can't know where you're going if you don't know where you came from. And so the process of libation, for me, in this tradition, is that we always acknowledge our ancestors, those that came before us. And that we remember too, that the first drum beat we hear is the heartbeat we hear in the wombs of our mothers. That's the first heartbeat. That's the first drum beat we hear, is that heartbeat. The next rhythm you hear, the next important beat is your own. And we tend to forget to listen to our heart, to listen to the beat of our heart. I'm going to ask you all to take just 1 second to place your hand over your heart and remind ourselves that we are alive and that we are an extension of our moms and our dads and those many ancestors that came before us. Feel that beat and know that you're here in real time. So with that, I want to begin the libation. The words that I use are Yoruba words. You will hear me say the words Omi Tutu, which calls for a cooling and a calming energy to be present as we move forward. Omi Tutu will be I will ask for a cooling of our heads. So I'm hoping we all show up with cool, open heads and good energy. A cooling of our path, of our roads, that they're always open and allow us to have opportunities and remove all obstacles. Omitutu of Ile. Ile is home, that our homes are always cool and settled. And while there may be some disruption and things don't always go right, we find a way to come back to center, come back to balance. And then we call Omitutu to Egun. Egun is ancestors and spirits. And our spirits are happy when we call their name. That keeps them alive. And last, I'll call for Omitutu to Laroye or Elegua, who is the God that opens the roads. As I close the prayer, you will hear me say, Ibaye, Ibaye Tonu. I will look in the camera when I say that to you. And when I say Ibaye, I'd like for you to call the names of your ancestors. You can say them in your mind, you can say them quietly, and you could scream out their names if you choose to. The fact of the matter is, they want to hear their names called. They walk with you every day, and we forget that. So I ask you to think of those who came before you, maybe a family member, it may be a friend, it may be just, and you're not going to remember everybody. My list is very long. I've lived a very long life already. So you can't call on everybody, but just kind of acknowledge that you know that they're in front of you, they walk behind you, and most importantly, they walk by your side. When I close, I will say the word Ashe. When I say Ashe, it's a Yoruba word that means it's the power to make things happen. And we're here today to make things happen. This isn't anyone talking at you, to you. It's about all of us having an exchange and an opportunity to make things happen. So I ask, while I cannot hear you, when I say the word Ashe, you repeat it and make sure I hear you. I will say it probably 3 times. I say Ashe, you'll say Ashe back. Okay? Normally I stand, but because of the Zoom, I'm seated. I am before my altar. I have an altar at home with all of my orishas. I have my gourd or jikara that has water in it, and we'll begin the process of libation and cooling ourselves. You can close your eyes. You don't have to close your eyes. And again, I'll guide you through the Ibaye, Ibaye Tonu of calling your ancestors, and we will close with Ashe. Omi tutu, ona tutu, ile tutu, tutu egun, tutu laroye. Mojuba olodumare. Mojuba means prayer. Olodumare is the name of God, the creator. And what I failed to say is that in the Orisha system, all of the gods, since they're African gods, look like me, right? They reflect me, they reflect my culture. Mojuba olofi, mojuba oloru, mojuba gogoegun egun, ibaye. Mojuba. I will now do Ibaye, Ibaye Tonu. We're calling on our ancestors, our spirit guides. Ibaye, Ibaye Tonu to my mother, Laura Moreno Gago Alvarez. Ibaye, Ibaye Tonu, Alberto Moreno, my father. Ibaye, Ibaye Tonu, Heriberto Capote, my husband, who I've recently lost. Ibaye, Ibaye Tonu, baby, Eri Capote. Ibaye, Ibaye Tonu to my grandparents, my great-grandparents, my great-grandparents, and all of those ancestors who come before me. Light and progress for those spirits. Inka Mashe, Rani Capote, Inka Mashe, Joran Capote, Inka Mashe, Ariane, Inka Mashe to my madrina, Marta Moreno, Inka Mashe, mi padrino, Yolanda, Inka Mashe, Ami, Gomez Oshumikwa. Kinkamashe is acknowledging the living. I failed to share that with you, but I'm praying for all of you is what I've actually done, for all of us that are present. And now, I pray for the success of today's gathering, for the next few days gathering. I pray for all of you to find peace, to find calmness, to find an energy that continues to lift. We're supposed to work together to move on to the next series of activities, futures, the things we want in life. I pray for your health, because without our health, we are nothing. So I pray for health first. I ask you to pray for health first, always. And now I will close by saying Ashe, and you will say Ashe back. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. The sacred in me sees the sacred in you. Have a wonderful next few days. Thank you, Maheen.
Thank you, Melody, for bringing in the teachings of the Orisha tradition, bringing in Oshun, and allowing us to bring in our ancestors and our sacred selves into space together. We are so full and grateful to you. It is now my distinct honor, as we take the grounding that Melody gave us, to move into the start of our convening by introducing social justice scholar, activist, filmmaker, and producer, Dr. Monique Couvson. There have been many intros to Monique, and many of you know her. But what you don't know, maybe, is that Grantmakers for Girls of Color would have never moved a grant without Monique's leadership. When we started in 2020 and she came on in April of that year, she was sitting on seed money that we could have kept to build this new organization. But she knew that girls, femmes, and gender expansive youth in our communities needed those resources. and so she started the Love is Healing COVID-19 Response Fund. I would be truly remiss if I did not take today to say that we as G4GC staff members, board members, and consultants, and I mean each one of us, is blessed to be led by this extraordinary human. In just 2 years, Dr. Couvson has expanded our team to 15 people, and we have moved over $16 million in grants to more than 200 organizations in almost all 50 states, Guam, Puerto Rico, and my former home, Washington, D.C. Please welcome our president and CEO, my friend, mentor, and sister, Dr. Monique Couvson.
Welcome to the 2022 Grantmakers for Girls of Color virtual convening. My name is Dr. Monique Couvson, and I am president and CEO of Grantmakers for Girls of Color. Many of you are asking, Couvson? But I thought, listen, it's a different last name, but the same fire in my soul. I trust that we'll all adjust, just as we did for Prince, Muhammad Ali, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Amiri Baraka, and others before me. Women, too, can control our names. For more than 20 years, I went by the name of Monique W. Morris, but I have reclaimed my mother's family name and now go by Monique Couvson. I'm so happy that so many grantmakers, grantee organizations, and young people have joined us for this special time that we can share together. For those of you who are new to our G4GC community, I wanted to share a little about who we are. G4GC is the nation's only philanthropic intermediary that exclusively resources organizations and movements that are led by and or center girls, femmes, and gender-expansive youth of color. In the 2 years that we have been operating as an organization under the fiscal sponsorship of Rockefeller Philanthropy Advisors, we have grown our team from 2 to 15. And I hope that you take advantage of every opportunity to get to know them. They are a special group of individuals who are brilliant and passionate about resourcing the liberated futures of girls, femmes, and gender-expansive youth of color in the U.S., making it possible for us to raise and re-grant more than $16 million to 200 organizations in all 50 states, D.C., Guam, and Puerto Rico. This year's convening theme is Reclamation and Reciprocity, harvesting just and liberated futures for girls, femmes, and gender-expansive youth of color. We're talking about reclamation of resources, reclamation of power, and reclamation of joy. We're digging into this concept of reciprocity as praxis, where we actively mobilize toward the design and implementation of systems that invest in girls, femmes, and gender-expansive youth of color because they are worthy of our investment just by virtue of being who they are, and as a key strategy toward our collective liberation. Over the next 3 days, you will hear from an intergenerational community of fellow grant makers and movement leaders of all ages about the futures we are building together and what is required for each of us to realize those visions. We consider anyone committed to justice and liberation for girls, femmes, and gender-expansive youth of color as a co-investor. And by being here, you are or have the capacity to become just that, a co-investor. So throughout this convening, we encourage you to see each other, learn from each other, and build community. At G4GC, we see ourselves as a philanthropic home for movements and organizations that center and are led by girls, femmes, and gender-expansive youth of color. This convening is our way of opening this home to you. So come in, remove your shoes, wash your hands, and make yourself at home. It is now my distinct honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Ms. Dolores Huerta. Dolores Huerta is president and founder of the Dolores Huerta Foundation. She is a celebrated Latina labor leader, activist, and community organizer. She has worked for civil rights and social justice for over 50 years. In 1962, she and César Chávez founded the United Farm Workers Union, and she served as vice president and played a critical role in many of the union's accomplishments over 4 decades. She is highly celebrated in our communities for her commitment to human rights. Her awards include being a 2-time U.S. Presidential Award recipient. She received the Medal of Freedom Award from President Barack Obama in 2012, the highest civilian award in the United States, and the Eleanor D. Roosevelt Human Rights Award from President Bill Clinton in 1998. She has received many other awards, including Mexico's Order of the Aztec Eagle Award, which is the highest decoration award by the Mexican government to foreign nationals. the James Smithson Award from the Smithsonian Institution, and the Icons of the American Civil Rights Movement Award bestowed to her in 2011 by the National Civil Rights Museum. I invite you to explore her full bio when time permits, but I will say that for me and for many others, she is a living testament to the power of girls and women of color in this country, who are often keepers of the most audacious visions and bold actions toward a just society. Community, please welcome Dolores Huerta.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for inviting me to join this amazing conference about how we are celebrating the girls, the young women, and we might say the future, because that's who you are. And I just want to share with you a little bit of my story, how I got involved with activism. I was very fortunate because my mother, she was an equal opportunity mother. My brothers had to learn how to wash the dishes, sweep the floors, make the beds, and do everything that they usually assign girls to do. And my mother actually said to me, you've got to be out there in the public. Always remember to speak your mind, even when you don't feel like you're confident and that you're going to make a mistake. Speak up anyway. Even if once in a while we do make a mistake. The important thing is that people need to hear your voice. And so when you feel a little hesitant to speak out, take a deep breath and just go ahead and say what you need to say, because your voice is important. Your voice is needed. The other things that my mother taught me is that you always need to be ready to help somebody who is in need, even if they don't ask you for that help. But if there's any way possible that you can help someone, yes, you have an obligation and a responsibility to do that. I was very, very fortunate growing up because in view of having an amazing mother, like I mentioned, my mother's name was Alicia, but she always had me do things in public. I was a dancer, so I danced in public. I also was very fortunate to have music lessons and played in my school orchestra. I played the violin. But she also got me enrolled in the Girl Scouts. And that was also a very important training lesson for me, because in the Girl Scouts, which I was involved from the time I was 8 years old to the time I was 18 years old, 10 years, then I learned about serving other people, which is, of course, the mandate that my mother had given me. But also, you learn teamwork, you learn to work with girls that you don't know. You also learn about nature and how important it is for us to preserve the planet. In Girl Scouts, when we would go camping, we had to make sure that we left our campsite clean, that we didn't leave anything behind, and that we were able to make our camping place a better place than when we arrived there. And that's really why we're put on this earth, to leave the world a better place than we arrived there. And yes, young women and girls, we are so, so important for the future. I do want to share with you the words of Coretta Scott King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s widow. And this is what she said. She said, "We will never have peace in the world until women take power." And I have kind of edited that a little bit because we don't want to discriminate against boys and men either, but we do want them to be feminists. And when I say the word feminist, what does that mean? Right to abortion. And I know some people have problems with that, but that nobody can tell us what to do with our bodies. That this is a decision that every young woman will have in this world. And that, by the way, also applies to people that happen to like somebody or marry somebody of the same sex, okay? That is their human right. And these are things that we need to really kind of make sure that understand them and that we're willing to fight for them. Because one of the things that we want to do as young women is to end discrimination. Yes, we want to end the sexism, the machismo. And we have to say, we could not let anybody dominate me. I don't want anybody to ever oppress me or discriminate against me. But we know that that happens in the real world, that does happen. And so when we see that somebody discriminates against someone because they're a woman or because they're a gay person or a person of a different ethnic group, then yeah, we have to be able to speak out and call them out when they do that, because we want to end the racial discrimination, the sex discrimination, the homophobia that exists in our society. And we have to be able to have the courage to speak out when that happens, even if sometimes it makes people a little uncomfortable when we speak out. And especially we have to have the courage to speak out when we become discriminated, when somebody discriminates against us. So we just have to take a deep breath and speak out when that happens. We cannot allow that to happen. One of the areas that is young women that we have to speak out also is in our school systems. When we see that women and young women are not treated equally in our school systems, then we have to speak out. Now, sometimes we could say, oh, well, I just can't do this by myself. And that's understandable because we want to make changes. We have to invite other people to help us because oftentimes you might say that the job is too big for one of us to do it alone. So we have to get one or two of our friends, recruit them also to come and join you when we're speaking out against injustice. And if there's something going on in your school, well, then you might want to start a petition campaign or a little postcard campaign and get as many people as you can to sign your petition so that you can stop whatever discrimination is happening or whatever policy that you want to change. That's the way that we can do that. And that's really what, again, we want to make policy changes. It's not about changing one little thing or, making something better. We really want to make big policy changes. And of course, the way that we can do this is to, again, by organizing a large group of people to join us and then speaking up to whomever the powers may be. If it happens to be the administration at your school, if it happens to be that just a single person was engaging in some kind of discriminatory practice, then we have to organize and make sure that we can stop that. Now, sometimes people will criticize you. And I remember they used to say about my mother, Alicia, oh, Alicia is too ambitious. Well, young women, for all of the generations, we have been socialized that we are supposed to support other people and we are supposed to keep quiet. Well, the day has come that is definitely changing. We are not going to be that kind of a person that we support other people, but then no one supports us. So, always feel that you've got to be able to be your own support system and get other people to support you. And as we go through life, there are going to be many occasions when you see that there's an opportunity out there or something that you really would like to do, but then we look at ourselves and we say, maybe I don't have the experience. Maybe I don't have the training, the education, but you know what? Go for it anyway. I like to say to young women, this is the way the guys do it. They learn on the job. So we have to do whatever we can. And it's sometimes very risky. In my career, I have taken many, many risks. One of the biggest risks that I took was when I quit being a teacher, an educator, to come and join farm workers and help them organize themselves so we could get rid of some of the terrible oppressive things that were happening to them. Farm workers didn't have bathrooms in the fields. If you can imagine, farm workers are working out there in the hot sun every single day, putting the food on our table, and yet they did not even have a bathroom that they could go to in the fields. So that was one of the things that we had to fight hard for. But in order to be able to change that, we had to organize the farm workers little by little, family by family, until they understood that the only way that they could change that is that they had to do the work. Please keep this in mind. We cannot wait for somebody else to come and do the changes for us. We are the ones that have to organize to make those changes. And I know some of you are thinking, Well, I can't do that. I'm just one person. I'm a young person. I don't have that kind of power. But you do have to understand that you do have that power. And you have seen, and we have seen recently, we have seen many young people like yourselves that have been out there, that have been marching for climate change, to combat the global warming that is happening to us right now. We have seen young people out there marching to end the violence that's happening in our schools, to get rid of the guns that are killing so many people and so many students. We have seen young women out there marching for the Me Too movement, to make sure that women are respected in our society. And when we see all of those young people marching, we have to say, hey, that could be me. And I know that many of you in the audience have also been involved in doing that marching and doing that protest. But the one thing I do want to also remind you is that when we march and we protest, that's really, really great, because we have to bring to the attention of the public of the things that need changing. But we have to turn what we want to happen, we have to turn it into a law. There were laws that were passed, like for Title IX, to make sure that women were treated equally, especially in our educational systems, like for sports, so that women could get the equal amount of resources and money for sports that boys do. So you might want to take a look at your own school and say, are we getting the same amount of resources for our women's sports teams as they are getting for the boys in our schools? That's one good place to look at, to make sure that we as women are treated equally, and that we, again, get the same type of support that men are getting and that the boys are getting. So this is the work that is kind of cut out for us. But we know that as young women, you are the ones that are going to make this happen. And also, I do want to kind of share with you, and I hope you share this with everybody that you know, in order to get rid of the racism in our society, that we have to also work on that. And I want to share this with you, which I learned in the 3rd grade, is that we are one human race. We are one human race. Yeah, we only have one human race. We have a lot of different ethnic groups, but only one human race. And our human race came from Africa. Yes, we all came from Africa. And as our human race traveled across the planet, we went to the northern areas where it was a little colder. People got lighter in the skin, different color eyes, different color hair. But at the end of the day, we are still Africans of different shades and colors. And we have to share that so that we can stop some of the discrimination that has been happening for people because they have different colors of skin or different colors of hair, different colors of eyes. We just remind everybody. And so when somebody says something racist, call them on it and just remind them that, hey, we are all related. We are all Africans. And if we were there in person, and I could do this, and maybe somebody can follow up on it later, I would ask you, take the hand of the person next to you, turn to the right, and say to that person, hello, relative. Then turn to the person on the left, take their hand, and say, hello, relative. And this is one good way to remind all of us that we are one human race. And so people out there that are white supremacists or neo-Nazis, we can say to them, get over it. You know what? You're also African. Remember that. We are one human tribe, and we have to constantly protect each other. And we know that women, we're always in the forefront of making sure that our human race survived, because the only way that we survived on planet Earth is that we supported each other, we shared what we had, and we protected each other. And this has always been, of course, the role of women. And that's who we are. We are the protectors. And why do women make good leaders? Because we believe in cooperation and not competition. We believe in sharing what we have. And that means not only resources, but also empowerment. The things that we know, the knowledge that we have, share that with other people. Everything that you learn at this conference today, I do hope that you will take it and share it with your friends. So this is what really makes us strong, when we can have this kind of sharing and cooperation, because that way, whatever we learn, we can also give it to other people, because knowledge is the most important thing that we have, because it can never be taken away from us. Nobody can steal it from us. But again, we have to be ready to share with other people whatever we learn here. I do want to say one more thing. Maybe many of the young women in our conference today, many of them come from families that don't really believe that women should be leaders, or they really still believe that somehow girls are put on this earth to support men or other people. Well, we have to be patient, and we have to, explain to them, no, we as women are leaders, and we as women can actually save the world. So we have to fight for the support system that we need. And don't be afraid to do that, even as you get criticized and other people will look at you funny. When I left my teaching job to help farm workers, many people thought that I was kind of crazy. Why would you do that? But it was the best decision that I ever made, and knowing that farm workers were able to get some kind of help because I made that really strong decision. So sometimes we have to make those strong decisions and always believe in our own power, because we as women are powerful. I want to say something to consider here today. Number one, thank you for coming to this conference. We know that if we invest in our young women, we are investing in future families, because mothers, grandmothers, aunties, they kind of set the political philosophy of a family. And when we see and have strong women in our families, they set the example for us of what we can do, and also to have the courage to fight for what we want to do in our future, what we want to become. And so this is why this strong network of women is so important. And we are very fortunate that now we do have strong women leaders, like we have our Vice President of the United States, Kamala Harris. We have Sonia Sotomayor. We have Judge Harris Jackson, all of these great people that we see in power. And it's so important to share those images with women also, because they give us the example of the road that we can take. We just have to have the courage to take those roads. One more thing I want to say, we're going into an election year. We know that we have many women that are running for office. I would say to all of the young women out there, if you can volunteer for a campaign of a progressive woman that is running for office, and I say a progressive woman because we need to support women that actually stand for women's values, for feminist values, for people that will fight for you, for our families, for labor unions, for immigrants' rights. We can get out there and help them win. And when we help them win, that means that we also win. And as I said before, many of us young women that come from immigrant families, sometimes they don't have those values that women should be in the leadership, or that women should go to college. So sometimes we have to, within our own families, we have to be strong and convince them that, yes, women need to have an education as much as men do. And when we run into those situations, always try to find an ally, somebody out there that will come and help you talk to your family and convince them that, yes, you should also have a chance to get a higher education. And that's what we have to fight for. And in the future, make sure that we can fight so that all young women can have a free college education. I know we're not there yet. We're also fighting for free health care for every single person in the United States. And while this doesn't affect you now as young women, in the future, we want to fight for free universal daycare for all women and all families, so that women can stay involved in civic life and be there at the front lines to be able to fight for the rights that we need in our United States of America. We have come a long way as women, but we still have a long way to go. Oh, and there's one more thing that we have to fight for, the Equal Rights Amendment, to make that part of our Constitution. Now, I'm sure a lot of you say, hey, don't we already have that? No, we don't. the Equal Rights Amendment is stuck in the Senate of the United States, and we're trying to get it out of the Senate to get our senators to vote for it. And if we can get that passed, that will really make our path so much easier. So it will be in the Constitution that, yes, women and men are equal, and we can make that happen. Again, if you can participate in the electoral process by going out there, canvassing, going door to door, picking up your cell phone and doing phone banking, I really want to encourage all of you, please get involved in civic work. My children, they start learning at a very young age. From when they're 8 years old, 9 years old, they're already passing leaflets out there to ask people to vote for progressive candidates. And I know that this is not a political meeting that we're in right now, but we have to get involved in voting at a very young age. So I'm asking, I know many of you are too young to vote, but what you can do is tell your parents, tell your friends, your neighbors, and all of them, please vote, because this is the only way that we can save our democracy in the United States of America. Because sad to say, and I know that many of you saw what happened on January 6th when people attacked our Capitol, there are some people out there that don't want us to have a democracy. And we are part of that. We are the democracy. And if we do not get involved, our democracy is in danger. Now, I know some of these are very heavy topics, and some of you probably say, why is he talking about this now? But it is so important because the people that we elect to office, whether it be on our school board, our city council, our commissioner, our supervisors in our different counties, we have to elect people there that they too will understand how important it is to have women in leadership, to make sure that we have the resources that we need so our young women in our schools, they get the same quality education as boys do, and the kind of resources that we need in our communities to support our young women. These are things that we can fight for, and these are things that we can win. But it's going to take all of us working together. And just remember that you can do it. You have the power. We know, but by coming together and working together, and by the way, building coalitions with other groups, this is the way that we make it happen. So I want to congratulate you. I want to, again, thank the funders who are here for making that commitment to invest in our young women, because they need it. We need them. These are our future leaders. Si se puede. I want to thank you very much. If we were all together in person, I would ask all of you to stand up. But somebody at the conference can do this. And I would ask you two questions. The first question is, who's got the power? I would ask you to answer, we've got the power. Second question, what kind of power? The answer is women power. Yes, women power to do and fulfill, like what Coretta Scott King said, we will save the world. We will have peace in the world when women take power. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
A little emotional, even though I have actually seen some of the content, just to see you all in the chat and see how this beautiful community is coming together. And both Ms. Dolores Huerta and our next speaker said yes to us because they wanted to speak directly to girls, femmes, gender-expansive youth of color, and the organizations and individuals who work every day to support them. So just know that these addressed and these words were intended for you. And in the spirit of Sankofa that Melody brought us in with, it is important for us to acknowledge our elders and to glean from their wisdom as we continue to build just and liberated futures for girls, femmes, and gender-expansive youth of color. The next speaker really is, her presence here embodies the spirit of reciprocity that you as our grantee community show us. It was actually a grantee partner of G4GC's and one of our workshop presenters who mentioned that they knew Fatima Asghar. I first heard about Fatima's work from my cousin who handed me a copy of her poetry collection, If They Come For Us, and I wept. because I had never read a more beautiful, more true reflection of my own family's experience than in her work. Fatima Asghar is a poet, filmmaker, educator, and performer. Her work has appeared in many journals, including Poetry Magazine, BuzzFeed Reader, PBS, NPR, Time, Teen Vogue, HuffPost, and so many others. In 2011, she created a spoken word poetry group in Bosnia and Herzegovina called Reflects, while on a Fulbright studying theater in post-genocidal countries. She is the writer and co-creator of Brown Girls, an Emmy-nominated web series that highlights friendships between women of color, and the writer of If They Come For Us, a collection of poetries that explores the legacy of partition and orphanhood. Along with Safia El Hilo, she is the editor of Halal If You Hear Me, an anthology that celebrates Muslim writers who are also women, queer, gender nonconforming, and/or trans. She will read to us from her collection If They Come From Us and her most recently released novel, When We Were Sisters. Fatima Asghar.
Hi, everyone. My name is Fatima Asghar. I'm a writer and a filmmaker. I was a co-producer on Miss Marvel and the writer of episode 5, Time and Time Again. And I am so excited to be here with you all. I'm so excited to share some of my work. And I dedicate this reading to all of the young folks in the audience, all of the young organizers who are just fighting and doing all that they can to create a better world. I'm in awe of you, and I feel very inspired by you, and I feel very, very excited to be able to just share some virtual space with you. I'm going to read a little bit from my book, my new book that's about to come out, When We Were Sisters, and it's a novel. And the things that you need to know about it are that there are 3 siblings, and it's mostly told through the perspective of Kosar, who's the youngest, and they're orphans, and they are navigating their life and how to take care of each other in a world where they don't have a lot of support. My fingers wrapped in Noreen's hair as she runs, and I bounce on her back. Across the street, Aisha howls, weaving, backpack dangling lightly off of one shoulder. In this world, we were born into nothing, but everything is ours. The sidewalk, the yellow markers in the road, the rain falls through the leaves and kisses us just so. What no one will ever understand is that the world belongs to orphans. Everything becomes our mother. We're mothered by everything because we know how to look for the mothering, because we know a mother might leave us and we'll need another mother to step in and take its place. The tree mothering its shade, the restaurant door propped slightly open, mothering its smell of cookies to us. The blinking walk sign holding on long enough to mother us across the street. The sun mothering Noreen, warming her skin. The sidewalk mothering Aisha's knee, kissing it when her body hits the pavement, a love strong enough to leave a mark. The rain mothering us faster home. The hallway birds mothering their cages. The hamster mothering its wheel. All the mothers in the world reach out to the motherless. And beneath me, Noreen was made to mother me, my heartbeat pounding against her back, shouting so loud that it fills my entire being. You're held, you're held, you're held. Reasons why people go. Their train comes, they're sleepy, the bell rings, there's not enough food at home. They go to work, they needed money, they wanted to get a toy, they had to use the bathroom. There's someone else they love more. They get pneumonia. They promised someone would meet them. They hate you. You hate them. They're tired. They ran out of salt. They died. They fell in love with the moon. The birds shit too much. The phone rang. We put them in the ground. You forgot about them. They forgot about you. The bus is outside. Someone else is waiting for them. They disappeared. They work for the government. They don't work for the government. They got fired. They got hired. The British left. The military came. The country collapsed. The country stopped being a country. The land stopped being land. There was food somewhere else. The house got too loud. No one cleaned. We ran out of toilet paper. They got sick. The grass was greener. The grass died. All the plants are dead. No one came. Someone came when they weren't supposed to. They wanted to. They left. They're not coming back. And now I'm going to read some poems from my book, If They Come For Us. And this book deals a lot with partition. And so I'm just going to read a little bit about what partition was before I read some poems. At least 14 million people were forced into migration as they fled the ethnic cleansings and retributive genocides that consumed South Asia during the India-Pakistan partition, which led to India and East and West Pakistan's independence from colonial Britain. An estimated 1 to 2 million people died during the months encompassing partition. An estimated 75,000 to 100,000 women were abducted and raped. Partition remains one of the largest forced migrations in human history. Its effects and divisions echo to this day. This poem is called Partition. You're Kashmiri until they burn your home. Take your orchards, stake a different flag, until no one remembers the road that brings you back. You're Indian until they draw a border through Punjab, until the British captains spit baki as they sip your chai, add so much foam you can't taste home. You're Strikey until your mouth fills with English. You're Pakistani until your classmates ask what that is. Then you're Indian again, or some kind of Spanish. You speak a language until you don't, until you only recognize it between your auntie's lips. Your father was fluent in 4 languages. You're illiterate in the tongues of your father. Your grandfather wrote Persian poetry on glasses. Maybe you can't remember. You made it up. Someone lied. You're a daughter until they bury your mother, until you're not invited to your father's funeral. You're a virgin until you get too drunk. You're Muslim until you're not a virgin. You're Pakistani until they start throwing acid. You're Muslim until it's too dangerous. You're safe until you're alone. You're American until the towers fall, until there's a border on your back. This next poem is called Kal. Allah, you gave us a language where yesterday and tomorrow are the same word. Kal, a spell cast with the entire mouth, back of the throat to teeth. Tomorrow means I might have her forever. Yesterday means I say goodbye again. Kal means they are the same. I know you can bend time. I'm merely asking for what is mine. Give me my mother for no other reason than I deserve her. If yesterday and tomorrow are the same, pluck the flower of my mother's body from the soil. Kal means I'm in the crib, eyelashes wet as she looks over me. Kal means I'm on the bed, crawling away from her, my father back from work. Kal means she's dancing at my wedding, not yet come. Kal means she's oiling my hair before the first day of school. Kal means I wake to her strange voice in the kitchen. Kal means she's holding my unborn baby in her arms, helping me pick a name. This next poem starts with a quote from Donald Trump's administrative team on December 7th, 2015, which is, "We are calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States." When the orders came, they shipped us to the sanctuary camps and we forgot our other countries. Like good school children, we sang the anthem loud, so loud, until we could hear nothing else. Not the birds delighting over their young, or the dogs snarl at our feet, or him on the news hourly growling. This is the cost of looking the other way when they come for us. I build safety inside you and wake in cuffs. I'm all mouth. Every morning I whisper, my country, my country, my country, and my hands stay empty. What is land but land? A camp but a camp. Sanctuary but another grave. I am an architect. I permission everything into something new. I build and build, and someone takes it away. This next poem is called Boy. What do I do with the boy who snuck his way inside me on my childhood playground? The day other kids shoved my body into dirt and christened me, he appeared, boy, wicked, feral, swallowing my stride. The boy who grows my beard and slaps my face when I wax my mustache. He was there too, the day on Ben's couch, wearing my skirt, ranking the girls in class. Again, his legs slamming concrete, my chest heaving when we ran from cops the night they busted the river party. Again, when I smashed the jellyfish into the sand and grinded it down to a pink, useless pulp. Together, we watched it throb and open and close, begging for wet. He was there. I have a boy inside me, and I don't know how to tell people. Like when that man held me down and we said no. And my boy, my lovely boy, he clawed and bit and cried, just like we were back on the dirt playground, scraped wrists and steady pounding, his eyes wide until he stopped making a sound. I'm going to read 2 more poems. And so this poem is called Land Where My Father Died. Land of building and no good manners, land of sunless people and offspring of colonizers, land of no spice and smallpox, land of fake flowers, land of shackle and branches made of rope, land of wire fences grabbing sky, land that mispronounces my grief, land that skins my other, land that laughs when my people die and paints targets on my future children's faces, land that steals and says mine, land that plants mines and says go back, land that poisoned my mother and devoured her body, land that makes my other language strange on my tongue, land that strips our saris and clips halos to its flag, land that emanates cities, land that says homeland security, land that built the first bomb and the last, land that killed my father and then sent back his body, land that made me orphan of thee, I sing. This last poem is called If They Come For Us. These are my people, and I find them on the street and shadow through any wild, all wild. My people, a dance of strangers in my blood. The old woman's sari dissolving to wind, bindi, a new moon on her forehead. I claim her my kin, and so the star of her to my breast. The toddler dangling from stroller, hair a fountain of dandelion seed at the bakery. I claim them too. The Sikh uncle at the airport who apologizes for the pat down, the Muslim man who abandons his car at the traffic light, drops to his knees at the call of the azan, and the Muslim man who drinks good whiskey at the start of Maghrib, the lone chala at the park, bearing her kurta with Crocs. My people, I can't be lost when I see you. My compass is brown and gold and blood. My compass, a Muslim teenager, snapback and high tops gracing the subway platform. Mashallah, I claim them all. My country is made in my people's image. If they come for you, they come for me too. In the dead of winter, a flock of aunties step out on the sand. Their dubuttas turn to ocean. A colony of uncles grind their palms and 1,000 jasmines bell the air. My people, I follow you like constellations. We hear glass smashing the street and the night's opening dark. Our names, this country's wood for the fire. My people, the long years we've survived, the long years yet to come. I see you map my sky, the light, your lantern long ahead, and I follow. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for sharing space. Thank you so much to Grantmakers for Girls of Color and for Mahim. Thank you for everyone who made it possible for me to come out here. I hope that you all have a beautiful, beautiful conference, and I feel so grateful that I got to spend some time with you.